All right, good morning, everybody. It's 10 o'clock. I'll check in with Rachel. Trying to look down the list here. Rachel, do we have a quorum? I'm trying to differentiate between
Yeah, it looks like we have a quorum, and also I am going to have to make an adjustment to the agenda and the meeting minutes, but when we get there, then I'll let you know.
Okay. Great. As long as we have a quorum, then we are okay to get started. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order here at 10 o'clock. And I'd ask if there is any changes to the agenda. And if not, I'd look for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
And I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hey, Joe, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I need to make an adjustment to the agenda.
Okay.
So after number 6, the financial report, there should have been a number 7 that read governmental cooperative purchasing agreement. It somehow ended up in my draft meeting minutes from April 14th. So the number 7 in the meeting minutes of April 14th actually was supposed to be the number 7 on the agenda item. It was attached to the packet, so everyone was able to review it, but it showed up in the meeting minutes rather than the agenda.
Do you want?
Does that make sense?
I think so. So that's supposed to be on today's agenda. Can we make that? How do you want to number that? You want to make it 6A then?
Yeah, we can do that so all the other numbers aren't thrown off.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a 6A to add to the agenda, which is the Intergovernmental Cooperative Purchasing Agreement. All right. Can we amend? So the motion would be to approve the agenda as amended, I guess.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second then to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? All right, the agenda is approved as amended. And we'll keep moving along here. I'll check in with Rachel. Do we have have approval of the minutes from the April 14th meeting? Any changes to the minutes?
Just to remove that number 7.
Yep. So the correlating number 7 on the minutes should not be on there. So
I'd make a motion with number 7 on the minutes deleted.
I will second that.
okay, thank you. A motion and a second to approve the minutes as amended. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Now, Rachel, do we have anybody online wishing to comment?
I can't see that, but Bree can. Bree, do you see any comments on the live stream? She said no.
Oh, is that her in the chat?
Yeah, that's her.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move along. Payables, item 5. Any questions from anybody upon review of the payables?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the payables as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? Payables are approved. Item 6, financial report. Is that you, Rachel?
Sorry, guys, I'm working with one screen, so trying to get it pulled up here. We are actually doing really good for revenues and we're good for our expenditures. I want to say we're expected to be at like 75%. So overall, we're doing really good. We haven't made the transfers that are set for our reserves. And I don't know if you guys want me to just make that choice of when the reserves start to get funded, or if you guys want to set a certain time to start funding those. The money's sitting in investments and earning investment income. So either way, it's not hurting us sitting where it's at. It's just whenever you guys choose to have me make that big transfer to the different reserves that we have set up for our equipment and things.
Okay, does anybody have any thoughts on that? Kurt, maybe?
Yeah, I just have a question, Rachel. I mean, obviously, if you move it to the reserves, you would still invest the funds as they sit within the reserve funds. Isn't that correct or not?
Correct. Yep.
And so, and I don't mean it to be burdensome or such, but just for thought, what if you were to move 1/12 of the reserves each month throughout the year? And I guess the only reason I say that is because then when you're tracking expenditures, when we're looking at expenditures, we know that, after 3 months, for example, 25% of those expenditures or transfers have been processed. And we also know then that, looking ahead for the year, at year end, we'd be at 100%. It's just, rather than, and again, it just depends upon how some individuals may look upon it. But if you're looking at it and there's no transfers throughout the year, you're in September, you think, wow, we're really looking good. And then all of a sudden, oh, but don't forget, we've got this large transfer coming up in December, and it catches you off guard. And that's just a suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that. I can do 1/12 each month. And then that will just show up on the financial report for you guys each month that the transfer was made.
Again, it's up to the group, but that seems to work pretty well. I know for us at least, in trying to project and look ahead with what our disbursements are.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yep, it does.
Okay, I'm hearing no opposition yet. Is there anybody have a different thought on those transfers, or does the once a month sound like a good plan?
A quick question, Joe.
Sure.
If you guys are switching to that format, would that mean catching up to?
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That would be my assumption. We'd do a chunk that gets us caught up to this month, and then each month after we'd do the
That sounds
allocation.
good.
And again, Rachel and Joe, I just, so long as it isn't administratively burdensome, if it is, even quarterly would suffice. But I think somewhere along those lines, so if we could, make those on a regular basis, I think that would be helpful.
Okay. Any issue there, Rachel? Feel free to, if that creates a bunch of work, if quarterly's easier, I guess just please let us know.
I think it's fine. Once a month will work fine.
Okay. So if there's no opposition there, it sounds like we have a plan, some direction for Rachel on those transfers then. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Any other questions, comments for Rachel on the financial report? All right, not seeing any or hearing any. Then we would move on to the added item of 6A, which was removed from the minutes. That is the intergovernmental cooperative purchasing agreement.
Did we get a little report on that? I did look at it. I might have missed what that was for. I know I'm familiar with those contracts for interlocal agreements. I was just curious as to what we might be partnering on.
Yeah, do you want me to speak? or-
go ahead.
Skamania County had reached out to me. They are looking at procuring a radio console system. And they wanted to use our contract. We went out for RFP and all that. And so in order for them to do that, we have to have a co-op purchasing agreement with them.
Here,
And I did have Frank review the document. He made a couple edits. We're okay with that. So his powers to be and Skamania signed off on it. We just need to approve it and send them copies back, and then they can move forward with their procurement.
Okay. Well, with that, then I'd make a motion to approve the interlocal as presented.
second,
Okay, we do have a motion and a second to approve the intergovernmental cooperative purchasing agreement with Skamania County. Is there any discussion on this? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. So that gets us through that. Then item 7, board comments, committee reports as usual. How about LawTAC? Anything from LawTAC this meeting?
Nothing new. Next meeting is May 11th.
May 11th, okay. And Fire TAC, same thing, or have you guys met?
I think the minutes said something about the fire tap meeting being in May as well.
May, yeah. All right,
Yeah, it should be May 10th. They're going to be meeting.
okay. How about any just general board comments at this time? All right. Then jumping down, then director's report, check in with Dave.
All right, so we're gonna go over staffing. We've added a dispatcher to training. We now have 17 dispatchers and 4 in training right now. 2 of those 4 hopefully will get signed off sometime in the next few months. We're prepared to do an academy from the new list of applicants to try to get up to authorized strength. That's staffing. Any questions?
I was just gonna ask David, somewhat staffing, I guess related, is have any of the staff started their going out in the field processes yet? I know that's something you had mentioned.
Yes, we have the liaison system going on, and there's been several of them that have gone to their local agencies and come back with reports that we're trying to troubleshoot some things that at the line level is trying to improve the system here. So yeah, they've started.
Great, it'd be encouraging to hear any fruit produced from those outings and that liaison program. I appreciate you instituting that.
Well, on our side, our dispatchers are very excited about being out there and hearing the feedback from the line operations.
Great, thank you.
All right, moving on to the facility. Up to last week, the construction was on schedule. But this week, there is a corrective action being taken by the contractor dealing with the placement of rebar and the concrete pylons. This corrective action that they're taking, as I've been told, is going to push back the main concrete pour. But the contractor is rearranging the schedule so as not to get behind the schedule. So they're doing things that they could have been doing in the next couple of weeks. The corrective actions being taken by the contractor, and they'll let me know how far behind schedule that's going to put them. But they are expected, or they've told me that they're expected to be back on track shortly. I know that's kind of a vague thing, but the contractor is dealing with some rebar and concrete issues that they've got going right now. All right. Moving on to radio issues. The Hall of Justice microwave has been stable the past few weeks. Unfortunately, the parts that arrived were incorrect. That was a vendor problem on the other end. We ordered the correct parts. They just didn't fulfill the correct parts for us. This is going to move the fix of the system to early summer, and it's all because of a difficulty in the supply chain with the vendors, and this is nationwide, the supply chain problem. Moving on to the Woodland site, we do have some good news on that. The Woodland Public Works is in agreement with the new location, and the move is only going to be about 270 feet from its current location. So we've applied for an FAA license, and we just need approval from that so that we can move the tower 270 feet. And thank you to Chief Kelly for helping with that. Deer Island, right now we've got an alternative site located about 5 miles away from Deer Island, and that site looks promising. By the next meeting, we're going to have a proposal to the board to see whether or not we should abandon our stuff at Deer Island and then move to this other site. So I'll get you that proposal prepared for the next meeting. Baker's Corner, the city has the application, and we're awaiting to hear if the public hearing will continue as scheduled for May 11th. If that occurs, I'll attend that hearing. The Kalama connection, they're going to be back on Friday to complete the roof wiring, and they've ordered software so that they can start programming the Kalama connection. And the microwave outage that occurred yesterday at Davis, the Davis Hill, Day Wireless has been working on this since yesterday, and they've used existing parts that we've got in the system to kind of cannibalize and make that microwave stable. So those are the radio connection infrastructure report. Any questions on any of those? I've got our SME here if you got technical questions on them.
This is Scott Neves. I guess I didn't hear the status of Castle Rock.
Castle Rock has a purchasing order. Deanna, can you help on that?
Yeah, Castle Rock site, US Cellular, who owns the site, came back to us and they want CD drawings completed. So I have a PO request to our finance department for $29.80, not $29, $2,980 for the CD drawings that US Cellular is supposed to do. That should be the last step unless for some reason they come back to us with something else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other sites or questions? All right, so that's going to conclude the director's report. We're going to do analytics at the first meeting of every month.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. Up next would be old business. And I know last meeting we talked about it, the sheriff brought up the idea of a budget subcommittee. And if there's interest from volunteers, please to reach out and submit your name in the hat. And I'll tell you what, the hat's just overflowing with names. Actually not. We didn't get a single volunteer. So
I thought we volunteered Kurt.
Sure, I'd be happy to participate
hey,
like one.
okay.
When I had lunch with Chet yesterday, he was one of
It's gonna cost him, Mandy. Thanks.
Thanks, Chad. We appreciate your volunteering.
Yeah. You know when the boss speaks, so.
So I think thus far, when I hear Kurt, I think Brad wanted to be on that. Anybody else willing to before we get to being voluntold?
Voluntold.
This is Scott. I'm willing to serve.
Brad, did you have thoughts on how big you wanted this subcommittee to be?
No, I was going to defer to the chair on that.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
It's probably just the right size.
Is 3 enough? Means we have volunteers.
I think it should be functional. I know I've spoken with my finance budget manager, Katrina Harris. I know she's been involved in the past when it was a county entity in terms of the budget and has a lot of background in that. So I'd be relying on her a little bit. I know I've chatted with Deanna. I know she has a great deal of historical knowledge as well. So maybe if we have a couple consultants who are knowledgeable in the history of the budget would be useful as well.
Okay.
And I'll participate to the extent legally allowed.
Great. Yeah, I think have as much help and input from staff, of course, where they can get it, I'm sure it'd be helpful. So thank you, Kurt and Brad and Scott. Is there anything else on that, Sheriff, at this time in addressing the old business on that?
I don't think so. I think we're moving forward. So that sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else from anybody for old business?
Yeah, we've got a report on Spillman from Deanna.
Okay.
First, I'll address just kind of briefly the relocation team, the consultants that we're working with. We've spent the last couple weeks going over what they call an AIR document. And basically, we look at all of the technology and determine what our recovery time should be on in the event that we had some type of a failure. That is important in the network design because it kind of determines how many servers we'll actually need. A lot of the applications can reside, multiple applications can reside on one server through what they call VMware. But identifying how critical each application is, and for instance, if radio IP went down or NetMotion went down, how long could we operate with that not being up and running? And so it's literally every single piece of equipment that we go through and determine that, we want maybe on our CAD, we can only lose 5 minutes of data. And so it's backing up every, 5 minutes. So if we failed, we would only have lost 5 minutes of data, and the recovery to get that primary system back up and running would occur within 24 hours while we operated on a backup system. That document, I think we've got it pretty much complete. Right now, the consulting team is meeting with the low voltage contractors at the facility. The network team wanted to get ahead of that project a little bit and work with that low voltage team so that whatever they install for, Ethernet plugs or switches or whatever, that we have some input on that. So there's some consistency. One, because it will make managing the system a lot easier in the future and less expensive. Otherwise, according to this consulting team, a lot of times the low voltage contractor will come in and get just kind of a mixture of stuff and everything's different, and then it's hard to manage your network system. The consulting team will provide a design plan to the board on June 9th. And like I spoke at the last meeting, we're going to send information out in the packet ahead of time for the board to review. A couple of action items will need to take place on June 9th. We are on a kind of a time crunch with all of the COVID delays on computer equipment. So the consulting team wants to try to start the procurement process, get the hardware ordered in June so that we actually physically have it as soon as possible. They said, there's delays of, 6 months just ordering a PC right now. So we want to try to get ahead of that so we don't end up with an issue in the future. We have a contract with the consulting team, which is AdCom, and then there's 2 other subcontracting IT professionals that are working with them. And we are at phase 1 of that contract, and there's 5 phases of it. So at that June 9th meeting, we'll be asking for approval on an addendum to that original contract to go into phase 2 or possibly into phase 3 as well. Phase 4 of that contract is going to be the implementation, and then phase 5 is the cutover and transition. As far as the ASA connections, which are your firewalls to the different agencies, the comm center is rolling that into this project. I had some discussion with our consultants in the county IT, and county IT doesn't currently feel like they have the resources to support the Spillman system. Originally, the comm center was going to only support the primary Spillman system, and we've agreed to also support the backup. Sheriff Thurman was gracious enough to make available some office space here at the Hall of Justice, which that is where we'll move our backup site to, and all of the backup server equipment and so forth. Sorry, just reading my notes here. Don Nyman from County Facilities contacted me last week, and we have a tower on the Hall of Justice, which that tower actually is utilized by other departments as well. So in our transition of equipment, that tower remained the property of the county. There's some guide wire inspections that need to be done. And when the new roof was installed, the guide wires were covered. So I'm working with Don Nyman and Day Wireless to address that issue, and also do some kind of cleanup on some broken conduits and things like that on the roof at the Hall of Justice. So Joe, I don't know if Don has reached out to you at all, but the project is in the process of us addressing that. So because we'll continue to use that tower as a jump or a relay with our radio system and or our backup.
Okay, I haven't been heard about the project, so thank you.
Okay, he's just in the process of kind of getting some estimates and a scope of work on what exactly needs to be done. Okay, so the Spillman core team, like I said, we had the conversation with county IT and the sheriff. We're going to move our backup site from the county admin building out of the IT office over to the Hall of Justice. Our consulting team is going to come on site to kind of look at what the options are here at the Hall of Justice as far as where we could locate that backup site. We have 4 workstations. They're smaller than what you see in the comm center. And we still do physically need some kind of a backup spot. And the backup servers and things, I think the Hall of Justice is just as well equipped as the admin building. We have generators for backup power, UPSs, network connections, fiber, all of that. So I think it's going to work out well. Brad, do you want to add anything to that?
Oh, the only thing would just be the timing. I know we discussed it. We need to plan now, but it'd probably be into early next year before you'd actually be making that physical move. Is that correct?
I would say probably the end of the year.
Okay. We just need some lead time to like create that room. And if they do a site visit, we can look at a couple options that we have to make that happen, but that'll be doable.
Okay, well, I'll coordinate with you so you're involved in those conversations and anyone else that you need to participate. Okay. GIS server, county IT has that right now. They're firing it up, installing some software. Motorola will download the mapping information. So hopefully we'll have that up and running for law enforcement to start utilizing the new GIS mapping in the very near future. So thanks, Sheriff and Troy, for helping out with getting that moving again. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Doesn't sound like it. Thank you, Deanna. All right, anything else? Old business? There was no need for executive session today.
We could discuss something for executive session either today or next meeting.
Okay.
It's a follow-up to an executive session that we had months ago.
Realistic.
Gotcha. Okay, well, we can take care of that, I guess. It's 10:32. How much time would you like for that?
We're estimating 10 minutes.
Okay. 10 minutes. So,
And excuse me, Joe, and
Yeah.
what's the topic? We have to announce that.
right.
Oh, it's
Real estate.
real estate purchase.
Thank you. And how long will this take?
10 minutes. Start
Got it.
with.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we'll give it a minute. It's now 10:33, so we'll come back out of executive session at 10:43, unless we need to extend. Rachel, can you move those of us into the, I guess, or move the folks out if they need to be moved out to a waiting room?
Yes, Bree is working on it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure who the other phone number is to know if they can be in executive session or not. It's the
There's-
423 number.
I see a
That'd be Chief Dar Kirk.
Chief
Okay,
Kirk.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Rachel, one of them was me. I'm dialed in. Jerry,
You're the 5510, Jerry.
431-4789.
I don't
I'm not sure how it's showing up.
Yeah. I see a 4.
Yours is connected to your name.
Okay.
Do you know the other number then, Rachel? That 5510?
That one is Bree.
Okay, great. So we got everybody who's supposed to be here, I think. And then our live stream is turned off on YouTube.
We're good on YouTube?
Okay.
Yep, we are good.
Go ahead, Dave.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Chet.
do you have any special committees that you can think of that Andy can take care of?
Now, Chet.
I know I was talking to Jerry and Deanna there. I guess there's no plans really for facility maintenance or landscaping at the new 911 center. So maybe somebody could be the landscaping committee chairperson, and maybe Chet could do that. Just push his lawnmower over there and weed eater and do a little work there.
I second that.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Looking out for your well-being. It'd be good for you.
Well, I know it. You're quite the guy. Thank you.
I'm sure it would look great when he's done. It'd be great landscaping. All right, I think we're all back in. We're back in open session. No decisions were made. And is there anything else for the good of the order before we call it good? Not hearing or seeing anything. So with that, then we will adjourn. I hope everybody has a good rest of their day.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, can you stay on for just one moment?
Sure.
Stay safe.
They don't cut